Hello everyone, I hope all of you are doing good, and today I am here with a video on Natural Resources Class 9 Science. I am Roshni from LearnerHub, the free learning platform where you get to learn physics, chemistry, maths, biology absolutely for free at learnerhub.com. So what are natural resources? Resources that exist in nature and are extremely useful to mankind. Now, something that comes to our mind is, what is it? How is it that these natural resources make Earth a very unique planet? So that is what we are going to discuss in this video. So let's get started. Now, when we talk about natural resources, so where are these natural resources? The resources which exist in nature. Now, when we talk about nature, the first thing that comes to our mind is what makes Earth a unique planet. Like, these natural resources exist naturally on this planet Earth. So how is Earth so very unique than the remaining planets of the solar system? So when you look at Earth, the most critical feature of Earth is that it supports life. So what do we mean by supporting life? So Earth is the only planet where living organisms can exist. So organisms can reproduce, they can live, so the entire environment is as appropriate as is needed by an organism to live and flourish. So let us look at some of those features of the Earth which makes it livable. Presence of air. So when you look at air, what is air made up of? So air consists of different gases mixed together, and these gases are needed by different living organisms. For example, you talk about oxygen. So oxygen is needed by living organisms for respiration. So respiration is that process in which food gets converted to energy, and every living organism needs energy to survive because they need energy to perform all the various metabolic processes. Talk about elements like nitrogen and carbon, which are needed for the formation of various biomolecules like proteins, fats, nucleic acids, carbohydrates, etc., which in turn form the living body itself. So presence of air is one critical parameter because of which Earth supports life. Presence of water. Now, as we all know that water is life, water serves multiple purposes. For example, water, even if you look at inside the living body also, there also water performs multiple functions. It helps to transport useful materials to different parts of the body. At the same time, it helps to remove the unwanted materials, that is, it helps to remove the wastes from different parts of the body. So that means water helps in transportation, and you would have seen it for yourselves that we human beings, we need water for so many different purposes, for cooking, for drinking, for taking bath, for cleaning. So for all of these we need water. Plants, they will not be able to survive without water. So water helps in transport of minerals and necessary nutrients for all living organisms. Moderate temperature. So if you look at the temperature of the planet Earth, it is neither too high nor too low. So the temperature is perfect and favorable for survival of living organisms. So presence of air, water, presence of a moderate temperature, all of these together enables Earth to support life. And since Earth is the only planet which supports life, that makes Earth very unique. Now, what comes to your mind when you think of our environment? So when we think of our environment, we could think of the things that generally happen around us. So how do we want our environment to be? So obviously we want our environment to be clean, green, no pollution, no dust, no smoke. So that's how we want it to be. So we want fresh air everywhere so that when we breathe in, we feel good. So that is our expectation from our surroundings, from our environment. But what actually is the case? Now there are certain things which are kind of interfering with a clean and green environment, and that is bothering our environment. So what are these unwanted things? So these unwanted harmful substances could be the waste materials or the toxic chemicals which are thrown as wastes from our household or from industries or factories or any other public place. Similarly, these unwanted materials could also be some poisonous gases which get emitted during burning of substances, or the poisonous gases which get emitted from the vehicles engines. So there could be a lot of unwanted harmful substances that might get released into the environment, because of which the environment no more remains clean and neat and green. So what happens now? You would have seen this also, that if you stay near a main road, a busy road where a lot of vehicles operate, so you would have seen that that place is very kind of dusty and smoky and polluted, and even if you breathe in such a place, you do not feel good, you do not feel that you are breathing in fresh air. So what is that? So that is happening because of the presence of some unwanted substances in the environment, which is kind of polluting the air. So these unwanted substances might interfere with a clean and green environment. And because of the presence of all of these unwanted materials, the green earth gets converted to a polluted earth. So in this lesson, what are we planning to do is we are basically going to talk about the resources which exist on the planet Earth, which makes it special. For example, water, air, soil. So these are some natural resources which already exist on this planet. But we will also see that how these natural resources are threatened these days due to the presence of undesirable substances. So we are going to talk all about these different resources. Now, before we start, we must know that it is extremely critical and urgent for each one of us to take good care of the environment, because if our environment is not proper, that is, if there are undesirable substances in the environment, that is, if the environment is polluted, this can also cause large number of deaths. So gradually the living organisms will start dying, and we might even arrive at a time where the diversity of the living organisms will actually reduce a lot due to environmental pollution. So if you look at the picture on the screen, it actually shows that India is at the second position in terms of number of deaths in a year due to environmental pollution, and that's quite threatening. So we should take this issue seriously. So this is something which we desire our planet Earth to be: everywhere clean and green, lot of trees everywhere, because presence of trees helps us in a lot of ways. It helps to kind of maintain the quality of the soil. It also binds water under the ground. It also helps in maintaining the balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So there are a lot of advantages of having more trees. So green, clean environment is what we want the planet Earth to be. But how is it actually becoming something like this, where you see, you often come across sites like this where garbages are dumped like this on the roadside or on the riverside, and that's really awful. Besides that, we see that most of the trees, as the cities develop, many trees and plants are cut, because of which the number of trees have reduced. So the greenery has reduced. Too many vehicles, too many factories and industries have also added to the amount of smoke and poisonous gases to the atmosphere. So all of these together is gradually kind of polluting our environment and is leading to a polluted earth. Now the first question is, what is air made up of? What is air? Now if I ask you what is air, you can definitely answer that what air is. So that it is like a gas which is present all around us. But what is that gas? What is it made up of? So air is a mixture of several gases. It is not just one gas, but a mixture of several gases like nitrogen, oxygen, argon, carbon dioxide, methane, and other gases. So these other gases would mean some gases which are present in very minute quantity in air. So if you look at the composition of air, you would see that nitrogen is present. Almost 78% of the air is nitrogen. Remaining 20.8% something is oxygen, and the remaining, which is not even 1%, that is argon, carbon dioxide, methane plus other gases. So if you look at this picture, you can see nitrogen is the blue cube, so most of the part of the air is nitrogen. A good part of the air, however less than nitrogen, is oxygen. Argon is still smaller, carbon dioxide is very very small amount, and you see just a point that denotes all the other gases. So you can imagine how minute quantities the other gases are present in air. So what is atmosphere? Now when we talk about air, where is air present? So air is present all around us. Now we often talk about atmosphere, which also is which is also made up of air. So atmosphere is a layer of gases surrounding a planet. So atmosphere is the name given to that part of the gases, that is, it is the name given to those gases which surrounds the planet. For example, if you look at the planet Earth, so Earth is surrounded by a blanket of air, and that blanket of air is given the name atmosphere. Why is it called atmosphere? Sphere, that means a sphere, like a ball. So the planet is like a ball, roughly like a ball. So around that ball you have another layer which surrounds that ball. So that's how the name sphere has come into atmosphere, and that's why we call this atmosphere. Now this atmosphere plays a very crucial role for a planet. So if you compare the atmosphere of these three planets, Venus, Earth and Mars, so when you compare these three planets, what do you see? You see that the major constituent of atmosphere in Venus and Mars is carbon dioxide. So Venus and Mars. So for these two planets, almost 95% to 97% of the atmosphere is made up of carbon dioxide. So like majority of the gas which is present in the atmosphere is carbon dioxide. Now in these two planets, life does not exist. Whereas if you look at the atmosphere of the Earth, what do we see? In Earth, we do have carbon dioxide, but it is present in very small amount. So it has maximum of nitrogen, it has oxygen, and then it has carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is almost around 0.03%. So that much less amount of carbon dioxide is present. Whereas a huge amount of oxygen is present, like 21% of oxygen approximately. And oxygen is very important for different life forms survival. And that is why life exists on Earth. So with this, you can have an idea that atmosphere or the composition of atmosphere plays a crucial role in deciding whether that planet would be able to support life or not. Besides that, atmosphere acts as a blanket which protects the Earth from many harmful radiations that might be coming from the outer space, like harmful radiations from the sun or from any other celestial object in the outer space. So the atmosphere is like a blanket for the planet Earth. So let us talk about the importance of air. So when we talk, okay, now a lot of time you might feel that sometimes I am talking about air, sometimes I am talking about atmosphere. So atmosphere is basically also air, but it is that layer of air which surrounds the planet. And when we use the term air, we actually refer to the air that is present all around us. So these are just two different ways of calling almost the same thing. So importance of air, it is necessary for survival of plants, proper growth and development of plants. So if you want, you can try this out at your home. Like you take some, like we often keep plants in our terrace garden or in the garden of our house. Now these plants need sufficient amount of light, air, water, good quality of the soil so that they can grow and flourish. Now every plant, they need food, like the way we human beings need food to survive, plants also need food. But how do plants get food? They prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis. Now for photosynthesis to take place, they need carbon dioxide. Right? So carbon dioxide, where is carbon dioxide present? It is present in the air. So they need air. Again, for plants to grow, they need a lot of nutrients like nitrogen, which is a macronutrient. That is, nitrogen is needed in huge amounts for plants growth and development, and nitrogen is present where? It is again present in the air. So basically, plants need air. In fact, it needs the gases which are present inside the air for its proper growth and survival. Survival of animals. So if you look at animals, we all breathe in oxygen. Why do we breathe in oxygen? Because we want to respire. Because, for example, in human beings, we take in oxygen so that we can break down the food to release energy. So we say that we need food to survive. Okay, we eat food, and then what happens to that food once it enters inside our body? The food gets digested, and then energy is released from that digested food. So in order to release energy from the digested food, it needs to be broken down. So that oxidation of food takes place only in presence of oxygen, and that is what we call as respiration. So for animals, respiration is a very crucial process. If respiration doesn't happen, then what will happen? The animals will not be able to survive. And for respiration, you need oxygen. Oxygen is present in the air. So animals need air for their survival. Control the Earth's temperature. Now, as I mentioned before also, that Earth is the only planet to sustain life. Why? Because an appropriate temperature is maintained inside the Earth so that living organisms can grow and they can survive. So had there been no atmosphere, Earth would have been either too cold or kind of very hot or very fluctuating temperature. So basically, atmosphere plays a very important role to maintain the temperature of the Earth at that appropriate level. Protection against harmful radiation. As I said, that atmosphere is like a blanket. So if you look at this picture, you see all around the Earth you have this blanket. So what does a blanket do to us? For example, when the weather is extremely cold, it's chilling outside, but when you cover yourself with a blanket, you do not feel the cold. So the cold is still there, but you do not feel it because the blanket is giving you the protection. So in a similar way, the atmosphere acts as a blanket for the Earth, and that is how it doesn't allow harmful radiations to enter inside the Earth. And this blanket also helps to maintain the right temperature inside the Earth. So let us look at the role of atmosphere in climate control in more detail. As mentioned before, that atmosphere maintains appropriate temperature on the Earth. It is just like a blanket which protects you from cold during the winter season. Now we all know that atmosphere is nothing but it is air, mixture of gases. We know that air is a poor conductor of heat. What do I mean by poor conductor or bad conductor of heat? That means air doesn't allow heat to pass through it. It doesn't allow heat to pass through it and enter the other region, right? So that way we can say that air is a poor conductor of heat. So how is this property of air utilized here? Now during the daytime, what happens? So during the daytime, we have the sun, we have the heat and light of the sun reaching to the earth. Now, due to the presence of this atmosphere, which is a bad conductor of heat, it prevents heat from entering the earth. It prevents excess amount of heat from entering the earth. Therefore, it prevents excess increase in temperature. So, obviously, some amount of heat is entering, because of which the days are hot on earth. But the days are not extremely hot. So, if the temperature goes beyond, like during the summer season, sometimes the temperature goes up to 45 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Celsius. And we feel terrible when it is so hot. Now, if the temperature suddenly goes up to 60 degrees Celsius or 70 degrees Celsius, so can you think what might happen? So living organisms might start drying up. They might start dying. Right? So this excess increase in temperature is prevented by the presence of the atmosphere. Similarly, at night, what happens? Because air is poor conductor of heat, it doesn't allow too much of heat from escaping out of the earth. Because if too much of heat will escape out from the earth, then what will happen? Then the temperature of the earth will drop drastically. Again, if the temperature is very low or the temperature is very high, the living organisms will not be able to survive. So that ways air neither allows excess of heat to enter inside the earth, nor does it allow excess of heat to escape out of the earth. So that ways it maintains a decent average temperature on the earth. So if you look at the average temperature on the earth, it is somewhere around 14 degrees Celsius. So that's the average temperature on the earth, which is quite decent for survival of life forms. And even in extremes, the temperature goes from minus 89 degrees Celsius, that is the range of temperature is minus 89 degrees Celsius to plus 57.7 degrees Celsius. So this is the range of temperature of the earth. Now, on the contrary, if we try to compare the temperature of the earth with that of the moon, so in case of moon, we see that how the temperature range is very huge. It's like minus 190 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. So you see, and certain regions of the moon might have temperatures as low as minus 190 degrees Celsius, whereas some other regions might be as hot as 110 degrees Celsius. So these are like two extremes. So under such extreme conditions, it is not possible for life forms to exist. So that means atmosphere definitely helps to maintain an appropriate temperature on the earth. Now when we talk so much about air, we see that air moves from one place to another. And what happens when air moves from one place to another? That is what we call as wind. So moving air is wind. So movement of air from one region to another creates winds. Now the question is, what causes air to move from one region to another? Why does air move? Now the first question is, from where does air move? So air always tend to move from a region of high pressure towards a region of low pressure. So if you have a high pressure region and if you have a low pressure region, then what happens? Air tends to move from high pressure region to low pressure region. Now the next obvious question is why? Why does air move from high pressure to low pressure regions? Now here we will make use of the very simple concept of pressure. So we all know what is pressure. Pressure is nothing but force per unit area. So when we talk about a high pressure region, what happens? Here pressure is more, therefore the force experienced by the particle would also be more in this region. So in the high pressure region, force experienced by the particles of the wind is more. Now, when the force experienced by the particles in this region, let us say that this is a particle of air in the high pressure region. Now, since this is high pressure region, therefore this particle is experiencing high force. Whereas, let's say this is a particle in the low pressure region, or let's say that there is another particle in the low pressure region, and this particle will experience a smaller force because the pressure is lower here. So overall, where is the particle experiencing more force? So obviously in the high pressure region. So wherever you experience more force, the particle will move according to that force. For example, if you have a box like this, box lying on the floor. Now let's say that you push this box from this side, and your friend is pushing this box from this side, but your force is a lot more than that of your friend's force. So in that case, in which direction the box will move? So the box will move in this direction because the force in this direction is more. So the similar case happens here. But since the particles experience more force in the high pressure region, therefore the particles tend to move from high pressure to low pressure regions. And when all the particles of the air moves from high pressure to low pressure regions, then what happens? The air as a whole moves from high pressure region to low pressure region, and this creates winds. So based on this concept of air movement or wind, let's understand the concept of sea breeze and land breeze. So what is sea breeze and land breeze? Now you would be able to experience these sea breeze or land breeze in the coastal areas. Now what happens in the coastal areas? You have land as well as the sea at the same place. Like you can actually feel the interface between the land and the sea. So have you ever noticed that in the coastal areas, you actually feel cool air from sea to land during daytime? And this cool air from sea towards land during the daytime is called sea breeze. Now let's see what causes these sea breeze. Now what happens during the daytime? So during daytime, if you compare the land as well as the water, so you see that during daytime with the heat, the land gets heated up quickly than that of the sea. Now if you can try out this experiment at your home, take two similar balls, fill one bowl with water and fill the other bowl with sand. Now put both of them in the sun for maybe 2 to 3 hours. After some time, you would observe that the sand became hotter than that of the water. That's because land gets heated up quickly or more quickly than that of the water. So as a result, what would happen? The land gets heated up quickly. Now when the land gets heated up quickly, what happens? The air above the land gets heated up. Now warm air is less dense. As a result, the warm air moves up. So less dense air will tend to move up. So therefore this warm air, which is less dense, it starts moving up. So as a result, what happens in this region? So a vacuum is created here because the air which was present exactly above the land, that air is moving up because the air has become hot. So what is happening here? A vacuum is getting created, or we can say that a low pressure region is getting created. As a result, what would happen? The air pressure, so here there is high pressure region. So here somewhat low pressure region will get created. So comparatively this region is at a higher pressure. Now we know that air always tend to move from high pressure region towards low pressure region. So therefore this air which is comparatively cool. So this cool air will move from sea towards the land, and this cool air is termed as the sea breeze. So this is called sea breeze, and this sea breeze flows during the daytime because this entire phenomenon happens during the daytime. Okay, so now this cool air started moving this side. So as a result, what happens? Again here in this region, low pressure was created. So when low pressure is created, so what happens? The air which is present here, that air tends to move this side. Right, so the air above, it tends to come down from high pressure to low pressure. So again, when this air comes down, so what happens at this area? So here low pressure gets created. So the air from this region tends to flow to this region. So as a result, it is like a complete cycle, and this cycle results in the formation of sea breeze during the daytime. That is why you would have experienced this cool sea breeze in the coastal areas during daytime, which you normally do not experience in other areas. So you can see this phenomenon of sea breeze only in coastal areas or areas with adjacent large water bodies where you have land and as well as water adjacent to each other. So that's sea breeze. So in a similar fashion, just the reverse thing happens during the night. So at the night time, you see land breeze. That means at night time, land gets colder quickly than that of the sea. Right? So just the reverse cycle happens. Now since land becomes cold quickly, so what happens? Comparatively, sea becomes hotter. So if sea is comparatively hotter, so again the hot air rises up. So a low pressure area is created here. Therefore air moves from high pressure area to low pressure area. So again when air moves from this place, so what happens here? Again low pressure area gets created. So from high pressure air will come here. As a result here low pressure area will be created. So again air will move here. So that's how it will happen in this anti-clockwise direction. So in this case, what is land breeze? So land breeze would be the cold air which is flowing from land towards the sea at night. So therefore, if you sit near a coastal area at night, you do not feel that much of cold breeze because the breeze is not coming from the sea towards the land. This time, the breeze is flowing from the land towards the sea. So just the reverse thing what had happened during the daytime. So now with this, so if you look at the concept behind land breeze and sea breeze, you see that it is just based on one simple fact that air gets warm air is less dense, so it moves up. The moment there is some movement of air, what happens? Low pressure regions get created, and whenever there is a difference in pressure between two regions, further movement of air happens. So with these two concepts together, the entire movement of land breeze and sea breeze takes place.
So children, I hope you found these videos useful, and do make sure that you watch all the 8 videos of the video series on Natural Resources Class 9 Science, and I am sure these videos are definitely going to help you. If you have a feedback to share, do let me know in the comment section. I would be more than happy to hear from you. I will meet you all very soon with a new video with a new topic. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.